So today we're going to focus on target and tactics. If you want to grow your business, you have to focus on target and tactics. Target is what we want. Tactics is how we're going to get there. Tomorrow, we're going to be focused on exposure and execution. And then Wednesday, we're going to be focused on income acceleration, okay? Income is going to be the result of exposure, execution, identifying a clear target, and your tactics on how to get it, okay? The target is robbing a bank. The tactic is, how are we going to do this? I know, some of you guys are super in love with the fact that you don't have to strategize and you don't have to ask yourself how I'm going to do it, and you just have to sell yourself on the fact that you're going to do it, and you get to manifest your way to millions. And I'm not saying that doesn't work. I'm just saying it hasn't worked for me. That the idea of, if I think positively enough, the things that I want in life will come to me that I want. Now, I do believe that my positive thinking has attracted certain things in my life, but not millions. I'll tell you that right there. You got to work for that. You got to work. The house you want, you got to work for that. The car you want to drive, you got to work for that. The things you want to do financially, you got to work for that. In my opinion and in my experience in talking to people, there has not only been a target, but there has been tactics. That's why on Q&A, you guys ask me, hey, how should I do this? You're asking me the tactic. You're not relying on it just coming to you because you're special. And God told you that was going to be your husband. I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from because we're talking about business. I don't know where that came from. But I know stuff is, yeah, man. You're going to have a dream. A dream. I have a dream. It's going to happen. Martin Luther King had a dream, but guess what? There was some tactics involved. There were some things that he had to do. So my point is, we are going to really, really focus on business building, and I'm going to give y'all everything I got for the rest of the year on how we're going to make money. And there have been multiple people who come into the morning meetup before they were in the morning meetup, things were okay. They weren't going to die. But after just being in the environment, implementing some of the things on the call, you do it and you get the result. Okay? All right, cool. Nella, you mean to tell me you ain't manifest J-Star? All right, here we go. All right, let's get into it. Here are the tactics. So this is not good information that I'm going to share with you. This is information that I want you to actually do. I'm going to ask you to do something. So let's start with the target, AKA the goal. And I hate the fact that I have to come on here and talk about goals, because I know that some people are thinking, oh my gosh, get to the sauce, get to how to run the play. I don't really need to set no more goals. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. How many people, if we could just be honest, how many people set a goal last week and did not think about it yesterday? Come on, what we got? How many, like you set a goal last week, and I'm talking about yesterday, you didn't think about it. The day before, you didn't think about it. You didn't wake up this morning thinking about the goal you set last week. So how are we going to stick to the goals that we set in the beginning of the year? And most of us, we have a goal and we don't even write it down, or we actually wrote it down, but we don't know where the notebook is. Do me a favor, if we're going to be honest, how many people wrote some goals down and you got this whole strategy and this plan on this sheet of paper and you have no idea where that paper is? You don't know. You was at a workshop. Okay, let me ask you one more question. How many people are going to set a goal today as I go through this goal stuff, and you're not going to look back at this note? The notes you're taking right now, you're not going to look back at them. Just put it in the chat. Just be honest. The likelihood. Okay. Give me the likelihood, the percentage of possibility that you're actually going to write some stuff down and revisit this stuff later. Just throw me a percentage. I know mine will be low. Well, that's my problem. That's why I have to keep talking about the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. But it's so cliche. That's why I got to get on here and just do like a rant on the mindset and how you think, and me trying to reshape some things in your brain and not giving you this is what you need to do, because you need that mindset shift every day. I know sometimes people look, yo, just tell me the strategy and the tactics. No, you don't need that, because I'll tell you what to do. You're not going to do it. Why? Because your thought process isn't intact. You're thinking, the way you think about some things, it's not going to be able to hold the tactics. You're not going to be able to carry it out, because you're going to start carrying something out and it's going to get really, really hard. And that's when the way you think is going to have to take over and get through it. But we just don't. So I got to talk about the same stuff over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. I've been talking about the same stuff since we started the morning meetup, in a different way, in a different tone, wearing a different shirt. But there's the stuff that works. I'm telling you. How many people you actually listen to the Jim Rohn video? Not the video. How many of y'all download that communications workshop I gave you guys? How many listen to it? How many listen to it? All right. Somebody that listened to it, raise your hand, because I'm going to test you, okay? I don't think you're lying, but I just need to know. How many people listen to it? I'm gonna quiz you. Listen, I've listened to it 1,000 times, so I can test you on this stuff. All right, let's see it. Who we got?
Nobody's raised their hand yet.
Nobody raised their hand yet.
There we go.
Interesting. It was mad. Oh, I did it. Oh, but you can't tell me anything from it. Okay. What's up, Taylor?
Hey.
You listened to Jim Rohn's communication workshop?
I did. I listened to the entire thing once, so hopefully I passed.
All right, here's the quiz. How many parts is it?
That should be easy. I believe it was 4.
Okay. All right, you're 100%. Okay, give me 3 takeaways. 3 takeaways.
He spoke about listening. He spoke about listening. I might be saying it wrong. I want to say some type of emotional control when you're listening and being empathetic to what the person is saying. He talked about having something good to say by making sure you're feeding your mind and feeding yourself with good information. He talked about, man, I don't know. I listened to it one time, like straight through.
That's cool. That is actually my point. And no shade. I'm glad you did. But remember, there's so much that changed my life in there. But I listened to it a bunch of times. You listened to it once and dropped 98% of it, which means we got to keep going back and listening to this stuff. Got it? So that's human nature. Anybody will be like that. We just read the whole book of Outwitting the Devil. And people who finish the book, they may not be able to recall a lot of the information in the book that we just read. Make sense? But it's not like you've done anything bad. It's just we got to keep, it's the repetition of information. Make sense? Okay, good.
Somebody end up, but when you ask for 3 facts, they put it right down.
I noticed that too. There was a couple of hands up.
Yeah, and then it was like, oh, nope, I don't know this.
Let me share a part with you. Wednesday night to come. Okay, so let me share a part with you. And I promise you, I've listened to all 4 parts multiple times. I've been listening to it myself. It's Jim Rohn's communication workshop. I really want you to listen to it. Can somebody find it and put it in the chat? It's really, really good. So let me tell you, he started making an illustration about the power of words. So he said, we've heard people who say, talk, 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 never act. That's not a good thing, right? People are all talk, what? No action. He's like, talk, 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 never act. We know that's bad. He said, but on the flip side of that, act, 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 never talk. It's just as bad. He said, your actions don't say everything. Communication is extremely powerful and just as important as the action. He said, when you get somebody some flowers, the flowers have a limited vocabulary. He said, what's not most powerful about the flowers is the flower gesture. It's the little card inside. He said, flowers say you remember. Flowers say you care. He said, but it's the little card that says, no one in the world affects me the way you do. He said, now the words are just as powerful as the gesture. He said, so we don't want to be all talk, no act, but we don't want to be all act, no talk either. We've got to be able to communicate. He said, like, you get a shirt, like men, we have a shirt with pins in it. The words that you use are like the pins. Like he said, if you take a straight pin, you know what I'm talking about? Like when you get a shirt, it has these little straight pins in it, or little pins that you will put into like a shirt if you're sewing and things of that nature. You know what I'm talking about? He said, if you take those straight pins and you throw it at somebody, you'd feel it, right? If I throw it at you, you feel it. He said, the words are the pins, but you have to use words with measured emotion. He said, if I take that straight pin and tie it to the end of an iron bar and throw it at you right there, he said, I can drive that pin through your heart. So he said, the weight is the emotion behind the words that you say. So it's not just saying it, but it's saying it with measured emotion. Golly, you're having a conversation, but you're not calculating all of this conversation, the emotion behind the words. We think that the activity is going to get us there when really we need to be able to communicate paired with activity, because the flowers don't say it all. It's the little card inside the flowers. I think I'm a student of communication. Oh my gosh, I can't believe so much time has passed. But my point is, it's a really, really good series. I don't have no affiliate on it, but I think it would help you if you really, really pay attention, because communication has opened up my world. Being able to communicate, especially in business, has opened up my world. Now, I'm a little more clumsy with the communication of my emotions and my feelings. I'm a little more clumsy with that. I'm a little more clumsy when it comes to like communicating with my wife or my daughter. I'm a little more clumsy with that, because that takes real talent. But in terms of like communicating with people in a business world, or just like getting people to like me, it's a strategy, and it takes practice, and it takes a true skill set in communication. So listen, y'all, go check out that session, and let's actually get to what we're going to talk about today. Okay. All right, cool. We have to set a goal. We have to identify the target. Okay. So here's my question for you. What is the measurable goal? Now, I want you to set an accomplishment, whatever the accomplishment is going to be, and I'm going to let you decide the time frame, because every goal needs a time frame, but I don't want it to go past 90 days. 30, 60, or 90 days. Let's create a target. What is it that we want to accomplish in the next 30, 60, or 90 days? Okay. So you should be taking notes, because I really, really want you to go through this. Maybe after the call, it's going to be tough to accomplish all of this while we're on the call, but this is why this is a 3-day challenge, because I'm going to challenge you to accomplish more in the next 30, 60, or 90 days than you've accomplished in the last 365 days, in the last decade. Do me a favor, just let me know if you guys feel me. Can you accomplish more in the next 30, 60, or 90 days than you've accomplished in the last 10 years when it comes to business or entrepreneurship? Is that true? Is it true that you can accomplish more in the next 30, 60, or 90 days than you've accomplished in the last 3, 6, or 9 years? Is that possible? I'm here to tell you it is. So we have to set a specific measurable target. And when I say measurable, meaning we can count it. So the goal can't be, I'm going to be more patient in the next 30, 60, 90 days. Why is that not a goal that we're going to go after today? Because we can't measure it. How do we measure more patience? I'm going to grow my business. How do we measure growth without a number? We need a number. I'm going to make 300% more sales in the next 30 days than I did in the last 30 days. Now that's a goal because we can measure it. That makes sense? Goal. I'm going to go to the gym 4 days a week for the next 30, 60, or 90 days. We can measure that. There are numbers attached there. And most of the reason we don't accomplish goals is because our goals can't be measured. You have to be able to inspect what you expect, meaning you have to be able to see inside the result that you expect to see. You have to inspect what you expect. Whatever you expect, you need to be able to monitor it. Is this making sense? If it's making sense, say it makes sense. 30, 60, or 90. Okay, but in all of this, okay, I want to know, will accomplishing this goal make you happy? Will accomplishing this goal make you happy? That's one thing I think we fail to ask ourselves. This isn't a conversation we typically have on goals. We set the goal because we think it's what we want, but we never, and I think most of the times when we set a goal, I think it's probably going to make us happy, but sometimes asking the question creates an answer that is more targeted, and it helps you realize more things. Will setting this goal make me happy? Yes. How? How? Here's sometimes you might run into it. Hey, I want to set a goal to make X amount of dollars and hire 5 people. Making more money and hiring more people, will it make you happy? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. I want to do 10 speaking gigs in the next 90 days or next 60 days, meaning I'm going to travel a few times a week. Will that make you happy? For me, my answer is no. Yeah, I want to do a speaking gig. Yeah, I want to make the money, but do I like traveling? Me personally? No. So just ask that question. We're not going to spend too much time there, but when we start setting these goals, just make sure the goal that you're setting is making you happy. Because sometimes we start setting goals that make other people happy, and us accomplishing that goal puts us in a cage of making other people happy at the expense of our own. Got it? Okay. What will be the long-term effects of you accomplishing this goal? Right now, I want you to just write down the questions, think about the answers, but I'm challenging you to get through this list of things by tomorrow. What will be the long-term effects of accomplishing this particular goal? So we may say, I want to make $50,000 in 90 days. Well, what are the long-term effects of you making $50,000 in 90 days? It's not the 50,000. The reason I'm asking you the question is because I want you to have certain realizations about yourself. It's not the $50,000 in the 90 days that's going to create long-term effects. It's your ability to make $50,000 in 90 days that has long-term effects. Why? Because if you make $50,000 in 90 days, the next 90 days you can make another $50,000. But if we don't ask ourselves this question, going through the next 90 days of accomplishing this goal, we may fail to realize and focus on our ability to make it, not just being excited that we're making it. Because then you'll start pulling more, you'll start squeezing more juice out of this experience. Because the long-term effects of me making $50,000 in 90 days is me making, or my ability to make the $50,000 in 90 days. And you may be a little more careful with documentation. You may be a little more careful with documenting your strategy, identifying how you feel emotionally, how you accomplish roadblocks. These are all very, very important things in helping you accomplish your 50,000 in 90 days or whatever your particular goal is, okay? What will be the long-term effects of your goal? Here's the next question I need you to answer. I want you to answer these questions today, okay? If you're going to answer these questions, say, I'm committed. Just put it in the chat. If you're going to answer these questions, say, I'm committed. Cool. Okay. All right. Great. Last question. And this is very important. Who do I have to become to accomplish this goal? Who do I have to become to accomplish this goal? Now, this particular question may need some assistance. You may need some people. You may need some people around you, because this exercise is you identifying you. It's really hard to see you. There are some things that you know about yourself that nobody knows. Would you agree? There's some things that you know about you that nobody else knows. But there's also some things about you that everybody else knows that you have no idea of. You have no idea that you're this way. And either nobody told you or people tell you, but you're just not listening. It's real. But who do you have to become? Now, there are some obvious things, if you're being real with yourself, of who you have to become to accomplish this. One, I have to be more consistent on the activity of the goal. In the goal, there are activities that have to be accomplished. And your biggest challenge is not that you can't do the activities, but you're not consistent in doing the activities. We need to be more organized. I found a strategy to go to the gym. And believe it or not, okay, there's some things that I know about myself that nobody knows. My chest is a lot bigger than it was. I know that about me. Now, other people don't know. They don't know it yet, but I feel it. I feel the difference. I've been it these last few weeks. I feel it because when I put my hand on my chest, it's a little more rock solid, and a little cup underneath. I don't know if y'all can see, like when you cup underneath, it's different. It's different. You know what I mean? But I don't be out here with my shirt off, showing off, so everybody wouldn't know it about me. But I know that about me. You know what I mean? There's some things that you know about yourself that you don't know, that other people don't know. You know that you're lazy. Nobody else can tell. Because when you're in front of everybody, you're on. There's some things that you know about yourself that nobody knows, and we got to identify those things. So do me a favor, throw it in the chat real quick. Who do you have to become to reach this particular goal if we have the goal in mind? Who do we have to become? Who do we have to become? Got to become more self-aware. We got to stop lying to ourselves. We got to stop getting so angry. The most confident people outwardly oh my gosh, inside, no confidence. And they know it. They can talk real good, but internally they know. Okay. But let's just identify it real quick, okay? You have to, like, yes. Who do you have to become? Okay. All right, cool. So I'm gonna run these, I'm gonna run these back because either some people are late to the call or you were just enjoying the show and you weren't writing it down. So I'm gonna give you an opportunity to go get some paper, pen, write this down, put it in your notes in your phone. Okay, this is your homework, part of it. Yes, Beto, yes, Beto. We about to leave. Yeah. This message is sponsored. Let's do that right now. Okay. Thank you so much, Beto. All right. Let me find it. Okay. Bow. All right. This is a quick commercial break for the morning meetup. All right. So here we go. Let me show y'all this real quick. This message is sponsored by shopsocialproof.com, shopsocialproof.com. Okay. And what I'm wearing today is a beautiful ensemble. Well, I'm actually wearing a sweatshirt, but I have actually hoop shorts on and no socks under this, but you can't tell. Okay. This is the No Rain, No Flowers sweatshirt. Okay. No rain, no flowers. You want flowers? You need rain. You can't have one without the other. And on the front has the beautiful social proof right here. This is amazing quality too. I'm wearing it right now. It's a pretty color. Okay. Make sure you use your morning meetup code. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So go to shopsocialproof.com. Good. Thank you so much, Vito. All right, here we go. So let me run this back, okay? Because I know some of y'all just weren't writing it down. You weren't taking notes on your homework, okay? Hey, real quick, throw it in the chat. How many people are glad I'm about to go back over this because you did not write down your homework? Just be honest. Come on, let's do it. It's all safe space here. Okay. I love y'all so much. All right, 1, we got to create a measurable goal, okay? Create a measurable goal tonight. You guys are going to create a measurable goal. Number 2, you're going to set the time of accomplishment. I want it to be either 30, 60, or 90 days. We're going to set a 30, 60, or 90-day goal. Number 3, ask yourself the question, will this goal make you happy? Okay, will this goal make you happy? You don't have to spend too much time on it, but just make sure the goal that you're setting is something that's going to make you happy, okay? We'll focus on goals that help other people in our family and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes us hitting the goal will help our family, but just make sure this thing makes you happy, okay? Next, what will be the long-term effects of the goal? The only reason I'm having you go through this conversation is because I want this thing to be real for you. Not just writing down a number on a sheet of paper. There's an exercise, there's a relationship, there's a moment that I want you to have with this target. What will be the long-term effects of this goal? And lastly, who do you have to become to reach this goal? Who do you have to become to reach this goal? Who do you have to become? Okay, note takers. I see them note takers, man. Note takers are money makers. I heard that one. All right, cool. So that is the target. But now we have to talk about tactics. And I got 10 minutes, okay? We want to build backwards. This is the strategy. The tactic is the strategy. We need to start building backwards, and I'm going to help you with numbers. It's going to come to numbers, okay? So give me a second. Let me turn my board on real quick. I got my board here. Let's see. Okay, that ain't it. Let's just do this here. Okay. So we're going to work backwards. Let me get my camera here. Okay. We're going to work backwards. Okay. And here's what I mean. There's a question I want you to write down. Is what has to be true? What has to be true? Oh, that's hard, Cynthia. Thank you. What has to be true? Write this down, okay? What has to be true? So let's say, that the goal is to make $50,000 in 90 days. We have to ask ourselves, what has to be true? And this is just an exercise, okay? So let's say, for instance, we want to make $100,000 in a year. What has to be true for you to make $100,000 in a year? Somebody write it down. What has to be true for you to make $100,000 in a year? What has to be true? For the sake of time, I'll just go over it. But what has to be true is we have to make an average of $8,400 a month. It's actually $88,333.34. But what has to be true? We have to make about $8,400. We're just rounding up, okay? What has to be true for us to make $8,400 a month? Well, we have to make $275 a day. Well, it's actually like 274, but I'm just rounding for good round numbers, okay? $270, let's just do $274 a day. That has to be true. For you to make $100,000, you have to make an average of $8,400 a month, or you have to make $274 a day. Now, it may not be every day, it's just the average. This has to be true. So let's say, for instance, we have a $50 product. The thing that we sell is $50. Well, what has to be true? What has to be true? Come on, y'all. Okay, for the sake of time. We have to sell 6 every day. If you sell 6 $50 products every single day this year, you will make $100,000 a year. Now, we have to ask ourselves, what has to be true to sell 6 of these products every single day? Well, we have to ask a bunch of people. We have to nurture a group of people. Instagram, when I'm making posts on Instagram, that is me nurturing people. That's how I look at it. I have to stay on Instagram because I have to keep nurturing the audience, because not everybody's going to buy what I have to sell the first time I ask them to buy it. But I still got to ask, and we got to nurture, and then exposure. We need other audiences. I need content that's continuing to run every single day on different platforms. This is how I'm looking at what has to be true for me to sell these 6 every single day. What has to be true? So we're building backwards. Does that make sense? That's why we need numbers, okay? So here's the homework. Here's the homework, okay? Your homework is to list 3 to 5 people in your network that can help you in any way. This is a part of the challenge, okay? 3 to 5 people in your network, people that you know. Make that list, okay? 3 to 5 people in your network that you know that can help you in any way. You know somebody that's really, really smart, really, really creative, they're on the list. Very creative. Joey, super creative. Okay. Somebody who knows a little something about SEO. Oh, they know about SEO. Somebody that knows a little something about marketing. Somebody you know has an audience. Oh, they got a little audience. I want you to start taking inventory of the people in your life that can help you. I say 3 to 5, but it can be more than 3 to 5. It's okay. But I want you to circle 3 to 5 people that are in your network. I just want you to start taking inventory of what you have in your life, because there are some people that can help you, but you haven't tapped into them yet because you haven't thought of them as an asset in your life. You know they're an asset, but you get what I'm saying. You don't look at them as inventory. All the people in my life, I look at them as inventory. I can pull from them for specific things. Got it? Y'all gonna do it? Okay. All right, cool. 3 to 5 people in your network that can help you. If you have a longer list, go with the longer list, but specifically targeting 3 to 5, okay? Now, I'm almost done. More homework for you. I want you to create 2 different plans with at least 5 steps that are going to help you get to your goal. Don't check out on me yet. Don't check on, I know I said a lot. Don't check out yet. 2 different plans with at least 5 steps in each plan to get there. Okay? For example, our goal is to make $50,000 in 90 days. You're going to have to build backwards, of course, right? So our first plan, let's say, is, okay, I'm going to make $50,000 in 90 days. One of the ways I can do this is I'm going to write a book. Got it? And in writing this book, I'm going to collaborate with 4 other people. So it'll be 5 of us all promoting this one thing. And I get to use their audiences and I'll do some profit sharing, but I will be the quarterback to this thing. I'm going to gather everybody's information in my particular space, add them as contributors, give them some sort of way to sell, and say for every book you sell, you get 50% and I get 50%. Every book you sell, you get 50% and I get 50%. And this is a part of the strategy, okay? I'm going to collaborate with 4 people. That is one step. Second, I'm going to go on 8 podcasts. I'm going to offer an affiliate for all these podcasts. I have to target and actually jump on 8 podcasts that will give me additional exposure. I'm going to speak at 3 to 5 events. So I have to find some events to speak at that have an audience, and I'm going to speak there, but I'm going to take that content and use that as marketing for the promo, because I can't just put a camera in front of my face and talk, but it's different when I'm on stage. It's a whole nother energy. So I got to find 3 events to speak at, record it, and start repurposing the content. I'm going to gather 1,000 emails and 1,000 text messages over the next 30, 60, 90 days. And I'm going to blast out content on a regular basis. I'm going to be nurturing these people. I'm going to give, and then ask to buy, and then ask them to share certain things with their audience. This is a part of the strategy. I'm going to take $1,500, put it to the side, and use it for micro influencers. Me personally, I would rather take 10 people that have 5,000 followers and give them a certain amount of money than to give one person with 50,000 followers a certain amount of money. I'll let that sit on you. I would rather, like if I was going to pay somebody who had $50,000, 50,000 followers, let's just say $100 to make a post for me, I would rather take that $100 and give 10 people $10 who have 5,000 followers. The only reason I'm going through this is because I need you to come up with 2 plans, 2 strategies, because I need you to think. And we haven't accomplished our goals because we haven't thought. We haven't sat there and strategized a plan. I'm strategizing constantly. But what it does is, it's not for the sake of having a good plan. It's for the sake of you having the ability to think through some sort of strategy or some sort of plan that will work. 5 steps in each. 2 plans, 2 paths. I'm either going to do this X amount of dollars with an ebook, or I'm going to do this X amount of dollars with a t-shirt brand. Or I'm going to do X amount of dollars with speaking gigs. Or I'm going to do X amount of dollars, or I'm going to get X amount of followers. Your goal might be to get to 50,000 followers. I don't know. But I want you to sit there and think. This is not short-term reward stuff. It's long-term. Reward stuff. It's long-term. I play Monopoly as often as I can because I understand that it is a strategy. It's not just rolling the dice and buying property. I have to play everybody on that table. and I have to learn everybody and I have to speak. Like my friend Brandon, he's not going to do a deal with me no matter what. My father-in-law, we play. I have to structure the deal to make it feel like he is getting over on me. I have to structure the deal that way. My boy Josh, he just wants something fair, but I have to play on the fact that he's like that I'll let him choose. So I'll say, hey, all right, we might have the yellows and the reds. Let's just, oh my gosh, I'm running out of time. We might have the yellows and the reds in Monopoly. I don't know if y'all play Monopoly. It doesn't really matter to me which one I take, but the way I have to petition to my friend is, I'll let you choose. Do you want the yellows or you want the reds? Oh no. What happened? Oh wow. Can y'all see me?
We can hear you. You're not moving though.
Oh wow. I'm not moving. Okay. Let's see something real quick. Bow. I don't know. Something just clicked.
Turn your camera up. Yeah, that's what I do on Ecamm when mine freezes. Just unplug, replug. Okay. Anyway.
All right. Shouts out to Ecamm.
Yellow, red.
Okay. All right. We're still here. Okay. We're good. Okay. All right. Cool. Anyway, I say all that to say is I have to play everyone at the table, but it has me like thinking and strategizing. I gotta get this piece from this person, this piece from this person. This is what I'm gonna have to give up. It just keeps my mind sharp. Anyway, last point, and we're gonna get out of here. Make a list of everything you will need to accomplish this goal. Just spend some time. I understand most people are not going to do what I'm asking them to do in this challenge because it's a lot of work, but this is where success lies. Okay. There is a thing called growing pains in all that you do. And not to have a, maybe not like a negative message, but I do want you all to appreciate the things that, right? We just heard from a bunch of people and business is going great. Darius has opened up new restaurants. We get high ticket sales. And some of you guys are like, it's going well. And congratulations on that. But there are some people here that are experiencing some growing pains where the outside, the outside result isn't showing up how you feel on the inside. Meaning, inside, you're giving it everything you got, and on the outside, there are no results, so it hurts. Can anyone relate to that? Like you feel like you're doing everything right, but on the out, like we're not seeing the fruits of the labor. Now, I talked last week about execution and patience. So we have to execute. We are going to execute, right? Put execute in the chat if we're going to execute this month. We are not going to be the reason we fail. It's going to be outside factors. We will not be the reason. You will be able to say, I've done everything in my power to succeed. I said I was going to hit this particular work goal, meaning I said I was going to contact 10 people a day for 30 days, and I did. Now, the result, that's none of our business right now for most of us. We just got to do the work. But have you ever felt like you are doing the work, but it's just not showing up in results? Or some people will be able to relate to this, where your business is growing, but there are so many holes in the business that it feels like you're losing a grip on the business. Maybe it's just me. When I started to get some traction with my t-shirt brand, what happened was I was making more sales, but there were so many things that were falling through the crack, meaning I was making a lot of sales, but there are a lot of misfulfilled orders, meaning you order a large and somehow you get an extra large. You order a black shirt and for some reason you got a red shirt. I'm making a lot of sales, but it was in the process. There was a lot of holes in the business that I had to fix. And I felt like I was just losing a grasp or a grip on the business because the misfired orders piled up so high. I was like, I will soon be out of business. Growth hurts. Or let's say in our book club, we're reading one of the books and we start to learn more in the books, but then after we put the book down, life tests us to see if we understand what we just read. So in the application of what we just read and what we learned and what we understand, it hurts, but it's a part of growth. So I was looking at like the definition of growing pains, and I got to read. I've been really into definitions lately. And it said growing pains usually cause an aching or throbbing feeling in the legs. This pain often occurs in the front of the thighs, the calves, or behind the knees. Usually both legs hurt. Some children may also experience abdominal pain or headaches during episodes of growing pains. The pain doesn't occur every day. It comes and goes. That first part really stuck with me. It said growing pains usually cause an aching or throbbing feeling in the legs. Why the legs? One, the legs are growing, but two, that's the foundation of your entire body. Everything stands on the legs. The legs are the support of the entire body. The legs are the support of the most important things in your body, period. Your heart, your brain, your ability to reason, your thought process, the things that you see, the things that you say. It's the foundation. And when I was reading it, I said, yo, this is like scarily like business, because a lot of the growing pains are going to come from a foundational issue. Not the business itself, like the front-facing part of the business, but more the foundation of the business, more often than not. The logo looks pretty. People like it. You're a good salesperson. But the pain, I'm telling you, is going to be in that foundation. And listen, I am still going through it myself. My business legs are on fire right now. Business experiences a lot of growth, and then you got to go back and correct. I'm making a post today. I was going to make it yesterday, but I didn't have time. That every year, do you guys focus on making more money than you made the previous year? Right? I mean, 2019, my goal was to make more in 2019 than I made in 2018. And it happened. Goal in 2020 was to make more than I made in 2019. Goal 2021, my goal was to make more than I made in 2020, and it happened. Goal in 2022 was to make more than I made in 2021, and that actually happened. 2023, my goal is not to make more than I made in 2022. My goal is to make the same amount of money, easier, simpler, less issues, better supporting cast, more fluid. My goal this year is not to make more money than I made last year. This is the first time in David Shan's history where my goal was not to make more. My goal is actually match last year, but do it in a more systematic way, an easier way. Can I make the same amount of money in an easier way? Can I fix a more solid, can I make the same money on a more solid foundation? So the focus isn't more sales. The focus is a better foundation to stand on. I don't claim to teach financial literacy. I do some elements, but my major thing isn't financial literacy, because I'm learning financial literacy along with you all, just at maybe a slightly higher level. There's much more conversation to be had. Listen, the goal, okay, we set up a business, right? We set up a business, an LLC, a company. Then we set up a bank account. And then we got to manage the money that comes into that bank account and properly allocate it to expenses. We got to properly allocate some of it to like a reserve. We got to properly allocate it to pay ourselves. That's tough in itself. Basic level of financial literacy for a business. Understanding your profit margin. If you buy a product for $5 and you sell it for $10, that means every time you sell a product, you should profit $5. 5 is really the thing that we're looking at, the profit, the 5, because that other 5 that it costs you to actually produce that product should go automatically back into the business. And the things that we're calculating in terms of what should we invest, how to expand, how to grow, what to pay ourselves should be based on that profit. But in terms of like financial literacy, we need to understand that, because the thing that I described sounds easy, but the application, extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult. I'll be the first to tell you. That process, set up a company. The company should pay you, but out of the profits. It should be easy to calculate the profits. Should be. But it's extremely difficult. So this is why financial literacy in a business is so important. I don't know what that is. It's vital. It's important. But even through that process, there's going to be growing pains. You're going to give all this stuff to an accountant, and they're going to say, yo, you ruined your financial business life, and they're going to scare you half to death. And they're going to say, hey, you need to fix this immediately. But guess what happens? Well, if that isn't the right person, because they can look at your situation because they know a little more than you, and they will attack it. But that's no guarantee that they are the right person to handle your business. So you go through that growing pain process. And what do you do when you make more sales than you can handle? Can anyone imagine that? Someone said this to me one time. They said, yo, you don't want to grow too fast. And it sounded crazy to me. Right? Doesn't that sound kind of crazy? You don't want to grow too fast. From my perspective, the faster I can make some money, the better. I'm doing something right. But it took me a long time to understand that you do not want to grow too fast. Why? Because your legs can't handle it. It's like building a building. You have like pillars, right? But then you just run the building. You just start putting first floor, second floor, third floor, just mad floors, and then it topples. Why? Because the foundation hasn't been secured. Your financial legs. That's where the strain is going to be. So I'm asking you, begging you, I want you to really consider your financial legs, meaning the foundation on which your business stands on. What is the foundation? It is your system. It is your process. It is your training. I'm telling you this, but I'm not telling you that I got it right. I'm still learning. Hey, just put it in the chat, because I don't ever want anybody to think Dave is preaching. I want you to say, Dave is still learning. Just throw it in the chat. Dave is still learning. So I know that you understand that I'm not giving you a lesson and, hey, follow me. I'm telling you, let's all continue to learn. Because as your brand grows, you have to keep the momentum of your brand at the same time working on the foundation. My accountant told me something the other day, which may sound crazy. He said, no more investments until we finish this restructuring of your business. I got money that I need to put in a place, and I can't just have it sit in the bank, but they said, stop it until we like lock in the system on where you're supposed, which company you're supposed to invest from, what percentage, and it hurts, yo. It hurts. Growing pains. All right, let's move on this definition a little bit, right? The pain often occurs in the front of the thighs and calves and behind the knees. And one thing I did learn is that growing pains occur in the muscles or the joints, meaning the pain is going to be in the thing that's getting stronger. Now, before I get into that, just remember, don't ignore it. It's really easy to ignore it. Have you ever ignored it? Have you ever had like a problem and you just ignored it? And then you just go try to make some more money, you try to make some more sales, or you start ignoring that part of the business and you focus on another part of the business, or you ignore the whole thing altogether and then you wind up rebranding and doing something else. But I'm telling you, it's going to follow you. Look, it says, usually both legs hurt. Some children may also experience abdominal pain or headaches during episodes of growing pains. This is my point. The pain doesn't occur every day. It comes and goes. Yo, I was reading this joint and I'm like, yo, this is business. This is entrepreneurship, 100%. The pain doesn't occur every day. It comes and goes. Am I right? Am I right, y'all? It doesn't hurt every day when you're growing. It comes and goes. One day you're feeling depressed. The other day you feel amazing. The next day, anxiety, stress. The next day, you got your biggest client ever. It doesn't occur every day. It comes and it goes. The reason I'm actually saying all of this or any of this today is because I want you to know that pain is normal, but you do have two options: growing pains or staying pains. Growing pains, meaning you're growing at the rate of the situations that will occur. Internally, the most important part about this whole morning meetup experience, which you guys may or may not understand, is the book club. It is probably the most important part of this entire morning meetup experience. It's the book club. Not for the book that we're reading, but for your ability to read it, your ability to get through it. Do me a favor. Throw it in the chat. Now, Bren puts no more than 10 pages in there, depending on how, like, the font of the book or the big, whatever, however she describes it. I think she does an amazing job. Your ability to carve out 15 minutes, 20 minutes to read will be one of the biggest growing experiences that you experience in the morning meetup. Having a routine. Yo, this is I'm telling you, this morning meetup book club has been the most important growth point for me. Why? Because it forced me to create a schedule. I never had a morning routine before. Even getting on the call, I never really had a morning routine. I know I'm going to be on the call at this time, but I now have a routine. Y'all want to hear it? Let me tell you about my routine. I wake up at 6:30 every day. Depending on how my daughter tortured me through the night, I'll hit snooze once or twice, and my snooze lasts for 8 minutes. But my typical routine is I wake up at 6:30 in the morning. I get out of bed. I go in my daughter's room, or I go into like the guest bedroom. It's on the same floor. I go there. I pray, and then I read the book. I read our chapters of the book before the call every single morning, 6:30. I wrap that up. If I'm speaking, I create the message that I'm going to discuss, at least like some topics or something that I'm going to teach. And then I hop in the shower, get dressed, brush my teeth, come downstairs, do the call, leave, and go to, I got a house full of people. My wife, my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, my kids, they're all here, right? But I leave, go to work, come back. a whole routine. Now, it all started because I was real sporadic with the book read, but I said, if Brent ever calls on me, I better have like some sort of share. And it'd be super embarrassing for me to tell you guys to read a book and I haven't read, or teach you to be consistent and I'm not consistent. My greatest fear is that Brent catches me slipping one day. And she's like, Dave, what did you read? And I gotta like, I didn't. The routine in itself, the ability to actually finish a book will help you grow in ways it's hard for me to explain to you. I'm just saying. So, all right, Zula, chill out. Zula. Chill out, man.
I tell her I have, and he has never failed.
Come on, man. I read. Because I read, it forced me to create a routine. But that routine has helped me structure my entire life. I have certain things that I do on certain days at certain times all throughout the week. Okay. All right. Here we go. We got growing pains and we have staying pains. Okay. Growing pains meaning we're growing at the rate of situations around us. It's like making more money, keeping up with inflation. You know what I mean? So if inflation, do y'all understand what I'm saying? As inflation grows, you need to make more money to keep up with the inflation. If you make the same amount of money, but the price of everything else gets higher, you're in a really bad situation. So growing pains mean it hurts, but at least we're keeping up with the rate of all the stuff that's going on around us. Forget the money. If you are internally growing in terms of you are reading, you are like analyzing what's going on around you. Ever since we've been in a morning meetup or like you've been reading this book club, has anyone experienced that your perspective of the things that are going on around you, you're becoming more aware of what's happening? You ever be in an environment and all of your friends that you grew up with or that you always hang out with, you guys are there, nothing wrong happening, but something clicks in your mind like, why am I here? What am I doing here? That ever happened to y'all? That is called growth. It's not that you just have it. You didn't even see it. It's almost like blinders on your eyes through your whole life. But as you continue to grow, it's like layers, the scales start to fall off your eyes, and then you begin to see certain things that were there all along. But as you start growing, you start analyzing things differently. I'm starting to see like when someone says something to somebody else, I can see how that person took it, the thing that they said. And it hurts me. I'm like, oh, why did... And the person that said it can't even see that the thing that they said rubbed in the wrong way. Why? Because we're reading books. I'm going to recommend something to y'all real quick. Hold on. I actually... hold on one second. Let me find it real quick. I was actually on, I think we talked about it actually. I was actually on a live, YouTube live, and I'm gonna send y'all this link real quick. I don't get no affiliate or nothing, y'all. But I'm gonna share something with you. And maybe I shared it last week. That when I was working at I think it actually started when I was working at the Olive Garden. I started listening to this communications workshop with Jim Rohn. I think, I talked about it last week. It opened my eyes to communicate. It expanded my mind, and I've been listening to it. I listened to it for years, and then for a while, I lost this iPod that I had the workshop on. for like years. I probably haven't listened to it in 10 years. And I just thought about it. I said, oh crap, I got to introduce this to y'all. Let me share this with y'all. That's a link right there. Yo, listen to that in your car. I've been listening to it in my car. And it's just as good as like when I first started listening to it. Probably 15 years ago, 10 years ago at least. But I'm growing. And now that I'm understanding communication, I see errors in communication. I see my own errors. But that's a part of growth. So growing pains or staying pains. You can stay the same, but the situations in your life are not going to change. They are going to continue to grow. So if you stay the same, but the situations in your life grow, it's almost like, I remember minimum wage used to be $7.15. $7.15. Do y'all remember those days? Some of y'all probably remember $5.25. But imagine making $7.15 an hour today. Meaning your income did not grow with inflation at all. The world is going to get harder. You think because all these AI apps are coming out, it's going to make your life easier? It is going to make life harder. Why? Because you got to stay in tune with it. You got to stay in touch with it. You actually have to apply some of this stuff. Progression in science and technology doesn't help everybody. It doesn't make things easier. Okay. You're like, oh, there's AI and there's like, I can write a blog and then it won't take me that long. It's easier to write the blog. Yes, it is easier to write a blog, but you know what? There are 8 billion people who understand that it's easier to write a blog. So because it's easier to write a blog, now the hard part is figuring out how to make your blog different using AI. You think life gets easier? It does not. It does not. Here's what and maybe because I'm like in the middle of the curve, maybe it's like life gets harder as you get older, gets harder. And then maybe based on the 40 years of the blend of good decisions and bad decisions, maybe at some point it levels off, but I don't, all I know is that life gets harder every single year. For me, maybe just for me. But life gets harder. Why? Because you get older. And the world gets more advanced. And the world gets weirder. The world don't get weirder and weirder for y'all. No. Is it just me? The world gets weirder and weirder every day, every year. It's tough. And you are the pressure of growing. Understand, so as soon as you get a handle on Instagram and post and your strategy, here comes a whole nother app that you need to learn. Or here goes a whole nother strategy that you need to learn. As your business gets bigger, it doesn't make life easier. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Just because you make more money, life doesn't get easier. Actually, I was just talking to my friend. We was actually at church this Saturday. And he said to me, yo, you're in a perfect position, man. Like I see you, like you're able to make money, take care of your family. He's like, yo, I'm still working on like making more money. I really need to make more money. I'm like, bro, but you're in a situation where you don't got a whole lot of bills and a whole lot of responsibilities, and you got a little money. You have a little money, but not a whole lot of bills and responsibilities. Say, y'all want to make more. I said, just be careful what you ask for. It looks sweet. Oh, my life looks amazing. Oh, Dave gets to come on the morning meetup and he gets to do what he loves and podcasting and he knows how to make some money. That doesn't mean my life is easy. I had 2 kids. that when I walk in the house, work is over. Work is over. I walk in the house, my daughter does not let up at all. When I walk in the house, there's no, let me jump on the computer. She's like, no, daddy, come on. And she will close my laptop every time. I could be on my phone. She's grabbing my phone out of my hand. She does it all the time. She'll grab the phone out of my hand and place it somewhere else and said, no, daddy. Okay, so now we have a bigger business, but less time. You can only imagine the pressure to keep up with what you have. I'm telling y'all better enjoy where you're at, because the grass only looks greener on the other side, and it's never greener. Ever. I'm telling you, better manage your own problems. I'm trying to tell you. Listen, the more money you make, the more issues you have, the more you have to hire, the more stress, the more tax, the more strategy, the more this, the more that. And you have to worry about all of that and also maintain or try to grow what you have. It's pressure. Unbelievable pressure. The more you have, the more anxiety you have to keep it. Yo, do you know how scared some millionaires and multimillionaires are? Afraid. Living in fear. Living in fear. In fear that someone's going to rob them. In fear that their customer base will no longer like them and stop buying. In fear that the embarrassment of not making what they used to make. Their fear. Sometimes there's a requirement for you to take back some of the things that you purchased. To take back that Lambo, because you had a couple good years. Incredible pressure. It makes sense to sell some of that stuff that you bought when things were good. It makes sense, but it's so embarrassing. Pressure, anxiety. Everywhere you go, you got to look around. There's some people who have to have security. Golly, what would life be like if you have to walk around with security all day and you can't go to the grocery store, you can't go to fear. I do not envy celebrities. I do not envy Jay-Z. I do not envy Beyonce. I don't envy Rihanna. I don't envy none of these people. Why? They can't just hang out. They can't go to the mall. I like the freedom of going to the mall. They can't. I don't envy. So my point is, you guys are going to experience some growing pains, and some of you are experiencing the pain right now as we speak. You're feeling the pain. I'm here to tell you that means you're probably doing something right. I have to point out that I've been in the gym for the last 3 weeks. You know what I mean? I have been in the gym for the last 3 weeks. And I am in pain. And I'm walking slow, and my daughter is jumping all over me, and I'm like, golly, I'm hurting. But I find comfort knowing that it's just growing pains. Something is growing. If I wasn't in pain, that means I didn't do anything. But here's the cheat code. You have to, you must. It is imperative. It is imperative that you learn the lessons from this growth. Don't quit, don't retreat, don't retract. Lean into it. You have to work out that muscle until it no longer hurts. My boy told me one thing the other day. He said, when you make working out a lifestyle, you'll always be in pain. He said, you'll always be sore. He said, now the soreness doesn't last as long, but he said, you'll always, when it's your lifestyle, you'll always be in pain. You'll always be sore. So look forward to it. What do you want? Do you want it? If things are growing, pain, period. You could not grow. One of my favorite scenes from American Gangster is, he says, so your success took a shot at you. What you gonna do? Become unspool? You guys are gonna experience some amazing success, but we are going to have to embrace these growing pains, okay? As you're growing, some things are gonna hurt. The foundation is typically just go down to the foundation and you'll find the foundation of the business. Go to that and you'll find out why you're hurting. It's not like I lifted weights. It's internal. There's a foundational thing. My man was telling me yesterday, he said, yo, it's all about form in this one little exercise. He's like, yo, it's form. Once you get the form down, it gets easier. Once you get the form down, you won't tear something. So if you get in here and just start like going at it, you'll tear something. He said, that's bad pain. That's unnecessary pain. Let's just focus on the foundation, the actual form.
If you like the video that you just watched, click this one. You're going to like this one, maybe even more. Click it right now.